Brad from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and welcome to another episode of Getting to Know a Junkie. Today's junkie hails from Tronant, Scotland, and his name is Craig Gordon. Craig, how are you?
Yep.
So how's it going for you today? What time is it over there?
It is coming up for 6:40 p.m.
Oh,
here
okay.
in the UK.
Did you have to work today or anything?
I was actually doing a local sports radio show this afternoon before I came home, and it was quite hectic. You know, with all the sport that's going on in the UK at the moment. Well, of course, without any fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great. It's just good, you know, just to chill out tonight and talk about a sport that's been in my head really since a good 30 years now.
Yeah. Oh my God. So do you host a radio show?
Yeah, I do 3 shows over the weekend on a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. But one of my passions was I used to do a regular wrestling radio show as well. But due to, of course, the pandemic, work commitments and everything, I couldn't keep it going.
Sure.
But I'm going to try and bring something back in the new year, you know, and maybe just concentrate on, you know, the wrestling that we're seeing at the moment, like WWE, Impact, All Elite Wrestling, that kind of thing. So here's hoping.
Yeah, seriously. Well, hopefully by the summer or the end of the summer. Are you guys under any like lockdown or anything right now?
Yeah, we today, of course, we being the 26th of December, we've went into what they're calling in Scotland a 3-week lockdown. So basically, to give the guys an idea of what we're going through in Scotland, takeaways, you know, like to go and get like fish and chips, etc., etc., they can still open. Non-essential shops are closed, but your big superstores, you know, maybe like your Walmart or something like that, can still open. But other than that, we can't leave our community. So you've got like East Lothian, where I am. I can't go out. I can go to any other town in that district area.
Okay.
I can't go up to the big town like Edinburgh or to Glasgow or anything. Then I'd be breaking rules.
How far are you from those two cities?
From Edinburgh, 10 miles east of there.
Okay.
For Glasgow, it would be about another 30 odd miles. I mean, that's those two places are where I've actually go and watched independent wrestling over the last few years, and I met some really amazing people.
And are those cities, when under normal circumstances, was that somewhere you frequented going to either of those cities?
Yeah, I mean, Glasgow more for, I'd say for football and everything. I mean, when it was wrestling, it was like independent stuff like ICW and everything. But Edinburgh, you've got, as I say, Discovery Wrestling, like I was telling you off air, which is a company which started up about 6 years ago. And it's just grown and grown and grown, and it's attracted so many, you know, the top stars. I mean, even to give you a name drop, Tony Storm has been there.
Sure, of course.
Cassius Ono, or Chris Hero, as we knew him. I've also been like down south as well to Progress Wrestling, which is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Going to see a lot of the top stars there. And the good thing is, though, all the top stars, very, very approachable as well.
See, that's always the best part. And it's funny because my kids always ask me, like, I'm trying to think of someone who's like Seth Rollins, you know, and he has this heel character. They don't still understand that it's like an actor, you know, he's a real person and, you know, he's not mean to people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask you some questions, and they may seem ignorant, but I just don't know much about Scotland. Okay. Oh, before I get to that, so I was looking at your Facebook page, and I said to my wife, I'm like, do you know what trance music is? And she's like, of course. I'm like, I have no idea. So are you into trance music, and can you explain to me what that is?
Trance music is a little bit different to, what you would maybe hear in, say, like the Billboard chart in America or the official UK chart here in Scotland or in England. Trance music's more, I would say, you've got different levels of dance music. You've got like your progressive stuff, which is, more just, the beat in the background and there's no vocals or anything. In trance, it can be either progressive, it can be uplifting, which is quite a lot of vocals and everything. But the trance music, I think, for the easily to describe it, is it can take you on a journey from being maybe down 1 minute to being so high at the next minute, and then they can bring you down with some other music to just being, in the middle, and then take you all the way back up again, and then just bring you back to the end. I mean, some of these guys, there's one platform I can mention, and that's Twitch, which has just brought so many people on, and it's brought me to know more about trance music and to know more of the genres of trance music. I would say I'm more into that stuff. And then, if you were to say, like on my Facebook page as well, there's what we call the rave music in Scotland. That was the music I was really brought up on. In the mid to late 90s. Even I could actually go further back. I could probably go to about from 88 to about 96, 97, where it was absolutely massive here in Scotland. And then after that, music for me, I didn't really listen to a lot of music. I was probably listening to music more when I was going to work, just, something in my ears, or listen to the radio, or this was before I knew something about all your download sites, like your Spotify, your Deezer, your iTunes, to name but a few. But yeah, trance music is just great for me. It's just a nice thing that you can go to say to yourself, well, look, you just need, if you want to switch, maybe know yourself, you had a really bad day at work, or you've not had a great day at all. You think, you know what, I'll put on something like Solar Stone or Kidia, just to name a couple of guys. And the minute the music is in, you could be, I've seen myself maybe being off 2 or 3 days from my work and going to bed and just putting on one of the albums, and depending on the tracks, you could probably be away sleeping in a couple of minutes. I've seen it happen.
See, it's great music. I assume when I saw, trance music, I'm like, oh, it's probably, music that's enjoyable when, like, you're on acid or Molly or mushrooms or something. But, like, that's not the case. That's not, like, how it started.
No.
Who got you into it? Or was it just, like, everyone was into that at the time when you were...
I would say the rave side of it was a radio show on one of the local stations near to me in Edinburgh, and I was just thinking, who the heck is this DJ and what the heck is this music? And I just got onto it. I collected some vinyls, not a lot of vinyls, and then of course, as I say, the CD revolution came in, so bought a few CDs. Still cassettes were going as well, and then it was just, as I say, listening to DJs and listening to different types of music and thinking, hang on a second, there's actually events going on. So I started to go to some of the events. And as you were saying, people maybe, mushrooms, poppers is the other thing that a lot of them use in the UK, or the other, Class A stuff. And everybody used to say to me, Craig, how the heck can you go through a 12-hour dance event without taking any drugs? I'm going to use, and I just said to them, I'm going to use a gentleman's single, his song, as to describe it. It says, what's that? I went, music is the drug. That's what it is. The music keeps you going. It keeps you absolutely run. And the thing was, a lot of people used to say, oh, but you've got to take this to get you going. You've got to take that to get you going. You've got to drink this. The only thing I used to drink, Brad, when I was going anywhere was water.
Really? That's good discipline.
It just keeps you hydrated, either that, or if you could get it, maybe, fresh orange juice to get a wee bit of vitamin C and that into you. I mean, I would say over the last maybe 5 to 10 years that I've been going to events, you don't get me wrong, I have had an alcoholic beverage and that now and again, but a lot of the time I used to take photos at events, and you had to, of course, keep yourself compass mentis to do that, so you could keep good photos, and the promoters would say, "Oh, that's fantastic. We'll bring you back." Mm-hmm. And then, as I say, I took some of that photography into the wrestling events that I've been to, and I would say near enough every wrestling event I go to, I've always got my phone on me. And I'll, get a photo of somebody, you try to catch the right move or anything. And then, as I say, if you get the chance to meet a wrestler, you say, "Excuse me, sir, is it be possible to get a photo with you?" They could say yes, they could say no. And it's, as I say, I mean, the music side, I would say, is taking me into what the wrestling was. I mean, as I say, we'll get to it later on, but I've got an interesting way to tell you how I actually got into wrestling.
Oh, okay, we'll get to that then. Good. Let me ask you another ignorant question. What type of wildlife do you see regularly as far as animals?
Oh, I mean, I would say near my way you get, a generous amount of foxes, rabbits. I have seen the odd deer.
Oh, wow.
Down my way, which are unbelievable. And the thing is, near to me, I mean, I'm in a small town about 10 miles from Edinburgh called Tranent in East Lothian. And if you go out with Tranent, roundabout, I mean, you've got small places like Ormiston, Pencaitland, Haddington, Gifford, Dunbar, and it's beautiful scenery. And then if you go down what we like to call the golfer's coast, so you've got a lot of the golf courses, and honestly, when you go out into some of the areas, you'll see superb wildlife, all the different birds, foxes, rabbits, deer. Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely stunning.
I imagine. Where do you vacation to?
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've not really went a lot of holidays in the last maybe, I would say 4 to 5 years, just due to the way work is and all that. But I've been to Turkey, I've been to Spain. I'd probably say my favourite holiday was, it'd be 17 years ago.
Okay.
I was over in Toronto, Ontario.
Okay.
And I arrived to what I was described as ice pellets. It was really, really cold. It was, don't get me wrong, it was still lovely. I got the chance to go to Hamilton, Ontario to stay with a good friend of mine's friend. Went to Niagara Falls, and even on the first night I got there, watched Toronto Maple Leafs live at a packed Air Canada Centre. Cool. And also got to see a baseball game, and was able to touch the real Stanley Cup in the Ice Hockey Hall of Fame.
Over how many days did all of these things happen?
I was there for 10 days. I arrived on the Thursday and I was there to the following Saturday. And it was just one of the best experiences of my life. And if I was to win, the lottery or something, I would love to come back over to Canada, maybe do Toronto again, then maybe go over to, or even better, go over to the West Coast, start in Vancouver, maybe drop into the US, and then just do a coast-to-coast thing. Yeah. But try and do Canada to America, then maybe, something like Vancouver to, say, maybe San Francisco, up to Winnipeg, Calgary, back down maybe into Chicago, Detroit area, and then do Toronto, and then maybe finish up, say, in New York, because I'm a massive sports fan when it comes to the States. Hockey, baseball, football for you guys would be the NFL. And as I say, I'm a big soccer fan over here as well.
Well, that sounds amazing. So all you need to do is just win the lottery, right? And then this trip happens. So just get on that. Yeah, you got to get on that. What does a typical weekday look for you? Do you work like a 9-to-5 job, Monday through Friday, or?
Well, the job intakes for me. I'm a security officer over here, So with the job I'm in, I'm 7 a.m. in the morning to 6 at night.
Okay.
And that can be Monday to Friday.
Okay.
But also the building area that I'm in, I could be asked to cover a shift up there.
Okay.
But then the hours change. They can be what we call 12-hour shifts. So it could be 6 in the morning to 6 at night, or 6 at night to 6 in the morning.
Okay.
But it's busy. I mean, I wouldn't say it's, of course, depending on the time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say when I go back to work in my normal bit from like the 7th of January, it'll be a wee bit quieter till maybe 2 or 3 weeks into it, and then of course everyone's back to work, back into the normal swing of things.
Yeah.
But usually a typical day, quite busy, the usual couple of breaks during it, and then come home and I'm either maybe chilling, maybe doing some stuff on Twitch or something, or I'm catching up with my wrestling. Because when Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT goes out in the UK, it's on like at 1 o'clock in the morning, our time. And the one I can actually watch live on like the WWE Network or that is, of course, NXT UK, which I think they've done an amazing job with in the BT Sports studio. But
do you watch that regularly?
I do radio. Love it. A lot of these guys that are in the NXT UK, I've met as well, face to face. When guys I've met Eddie Dennis, I've met Mark Andrews, I've met Flash Morgan Webster. I always remember being down for a Progress event at the Brixton Academy. We're in one of the local establishments, and of course, these guys, I think 2 of them were injured and 1 was on the card. So the 3 of them have came in, and it was just amazing. The whole place was completely packed, and these guys were coming and saying, "Oh, come on, let's get the music going."
So prior to COVID, were you going to independent shows like on most weekends?
I would say mostly enough every month I was at something.
Okay.
My local promotion is Discovery Wrestling. They are based. Well, all the events are based in Edinburgh, but the guy that runs it stays up in Dundee, which is not far from Edinburgh. And I remember when he started, I can always remember like the main event for it, his first event, was Crime Time.
Oh, wow.
Versus Joe Hendry and Martys Girl.
Really? Oh, and let me interrupt. So I don't forget. Your take on Martys Girl. Would you wear a Martys Girl t-shirt right now?
Right now. I don't know. I still, after what happened with all the stuff online and everything, I'll admit to yourself and to the listeners and everything, I got rid of a heck of a lot of merchandise that I'd purchased from, different wrestlers.
Sure.
I still have probably the bulk of my Progress ones, but a lot of them was their own ones, like everyone's allowed there and everything like that. Martys Girl, I've never had a bad word to say about him. I've met the guy at Progress, I've met him at Discovery, had my photo taken with him, we've had a laugh and a joke at the merch stall and everything. If someone's to say to me, "There you go, Craig, nice present for you, the brand new Martys Girl t-shirt," he's going back into Ring of Honor, because I heard he was actually going to be part of the booking side of it. And to be honest with you, I would. Martys Girl's done nothing bad to me. I don't know anything about what's going on. Do we know that a lot of this is true? Do we know if a lot of it is untrue? That's
it would never will.
Exactly. And I would. 100%. I would actually wear one of his t-shirts, no problem.
And his t-shirts have such cool designs too. All right, the big question: how'd you get into wrestling?
How I got into wrestling? I'll tell you what it was. I was we had a local video store here, and I was as I say, I've always been into sport. Mostly soccer was my big thing, and still is to this day. And I went to the sports section of the local video store and I went, hold on a second, I've seen these guys on British TV, because on one of the channels over here used to be like the classic British wrestling, like the guys like Rollerball Rocco, Johnny Saint, of course, who's the GM at NXT UK, Klondike Kate, Giant Haystacks, Big Daddy, and my grandfather, God rest his soul, and me used to always, maybe go away to the football, and we could come back right at the time, sit in front of the TV and watching, Big Daddy, Giant Haystacks and all that. And then what we used to do is we used to get a special, sometimes like once a month or something, and it was the old primetime wrestling.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you remember back to that?
I used to watch it all the time.
And I was like, I like him. I like him. I don't like him. I like him. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think, I'll tell you, to let everyone know, the first event I actually watched was WrestleMania 6. Hogan versus
Warrior?
The Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Champion versus champion, title for title. And a lot of people say to me, how the heck did you into, just watching that first one? When I told my friends and that I was going to be watching it, they went, oh, do you know how a lot of these storylines came about? And they went through with me how the storylines come about. And,
for each match.
How the Colossal Connection faced Demolition.
Yeah.
Hogan faced the Warrior, and, Rhythm and Blues and the Heart Foundation and blah, blah, and, so forth and so forth. And then what happened was, my friend who's lived across from me said, Craig, we've got it on here, but it's going to be, we don't watch it live, but you can come over to our bit and watch it tomorrow night on the repeat if you want. I went, are you sure? I said, I'm not wanting to, take you guys away from watching your stuff. Yeah, no, of course. And then, as I say, until I got what would be cable television in America. When I officially got satellite television, I was just hooked every week, wanting to watch this, wanting to watch that. For a time, I did have a lot of the old videos. I was able to buy them when the video store was selling them. So I used to have SummerSlam '89.
Oh wow!
Which of course we can all remember the main event from that. Macho King and Zeus against Hogan and Brutus.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people didn't know was what came from that up to the Christmas was a steel cage match between the four of them to try and settle, the differences between the four. And then I think I bought every event, 1990, 91, and 92 on video.
Okay.
And I also had, from the end of 89 to the I would say Fall Brawl 93 of WCW on video.
Wow.
And then unfortunately, due to financial difficulties, I had to let them go. But honestly, when I had them, it would be actually hard for me to pick, some of the events. I would say my go-to events when I first was getting into it and I would watch it back would be SummerSlam 90. And a lot of people say, would it be for the steel cage match between the Warrior and Rude? No, it would actually be for the Heart Foundation versus Demolition, the 2 out of 3 falls match, which is still, to me, my favourite from that era, my favourite tag team match. So to this day, I'm still one of the biggest Heart Foundation fans, and I could watch their matches.
They were the best. Did so the first event that you got WrestleMania 6, right, on pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Who paid for that?
Yep. It wasn't actually a pay-per-view. I think there was a deal that Sky, Sky Television, which we have over here in the States. I mean, of course, now all wrestling's shown on BT Sport now. Sky had a deal with it, and it wasn't actually getting shown on Sky Sports. It was getting shown on one of their movie channels late at night. So if, say, WrestleMania was on, it was on like midnight till 3, and then it went back to the movies and that. I'm trying to actually remember. I think it was roundabout when Monday Night Raw first went on the air. Was when it really went on to satellite. I had my first satellite system when I was 21.
Okay.
So that would have been 1997. So what I was doing was friends who had satellite television and all that were keeping me going. So we're passing tapes, making sure I was kept updated on what was going on. And my friend who was staying over for me, because they had it, they were taping. I'll take people back. Shows like Primetime Wrestling Challenge.
Did you ever watch TNT when it was on?
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, me too.
When TNA, when that first started, NWA TNA, as it was called, when it started to come on TNT, when the first pay-per-view came on, a lot of people will say to me, "What's this? What's this coming on?" And that. So it was absolutely brilliant. It was like, if you can remember, it was the Gauntlet for the Gold on the first one, which Ken Shamrock beat Malice, and what was it? Toby Keith suplexed Jeff Jarrett and then put him out the ring.
Totally. Did you? I assume you had your friends who liked it. What about? Was your family into wrestling at all?
Oh, my mum and dad used to love it when we were over at my grandfather's. As I say, we were watching it on the Saturday afternoon, and all that. And when we moved out of my grandfather's, about 20 odd years ago, my mum and dad used to always say to me, "Oh, you're still into that wrestling? You're still into that?" Because they lost a lot of interest. But as I say, I've been a wrestling fan now. Well, WrestleMania is always my anniversary. I always class that as my year anniversary when it comes to WrestleMania. And going back to even, I would say, like the early days, I would say Monday Night Raw. I used to absolutely love it. The early days of Monday Night Raw. And then you go back, as we were saying there, to the TNT wrestling, which of course was NWA TNA, which of course we now know as Impact Impact Wrestling. There's always one event that I can maybe take you back to as well. Second anniversary in the Asylum. AJ Styles was due to defend the X Division Championship, but they didn't have an opponent for him.
Okay.
And of course, who comes out? Jeff Hardy.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Absolute dream match
for
any wrestler. AJ had went through, multiple time NWA World Champion, multiple time now X Division Champion. I think it was 6 times he won the X Division Championship, if my mind serves me correctly. Multiple time Tag Team Champion with different people. Well, one of the main guys for me was another guy I used to absolutely love, Christopher Daniels, who's now, of course, part of SCU. And as I say, I just loved the way they were able to portray things. And I always remember the first steel cage match in the Asylum, which was Triple X and AEW, what am I saying? America's Most Wanted, which was James Storm and the Wildcat Chris Harris.
Yeah, that's right.
One of my favorite steel cage matches.
Now, are you, 2-part question. Did you collect DVDs? And the second one is, do you have the WWE Network?
Yeah, I mean, I as I say, I started collecting DVDs after, as I say, you couldn't get anything on VHS.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I still collect them. I mean, I've got stuff here like PWG Battle of LA. I've got some of the British stuff. A lot of Progress done up to, I think it was Chapter 42 on DVD, which I think I've got about maybe 10 or 12 of their events, which was not like, how when you get the WWE ones, they can go to a replay and everything. These guys were just straight shot at the arena. You're basically seeing everything that was going on, maybe. So if, say for example, you're going to, you've maybe just had a hardcore match and you're going to the main event, which was for their maybe version of a world title. What you were seeing is you're watching the guys tidying up the ring, and you can maybe even remember back to being, I was at the event. I can remember how long it took them, to get the ring ready. They maybe had to change the canvas and everything. I mean, you're saying about the WWE Network. I'll say one thing. It's an absolute godsend to a guy like me who's been a wrestling junkie, I can class myself as, for the best part of 30 years. I mean, you're talking like ECW. It takes me back to a lot of their early stuff. WCW, I mean, come on. The rivalry between the Horsemen, Dusty Rhodes, Manu TA, of course, the infamous steel cage match between him and Tully Blanchard over the US title. They say Flair and Rhodes, Sting, of course, getting kicked out the Horsemen and then going and beating Flair for the world title at the Great American Bash 1990. Oh, I mean, I just love that you can go back there anytime you want and just reminisce. Even going back to the old WWE stuff. I mean, one of my another favourite events, and probably the most technical match I had seen early days, 1991 SummerSlam, Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect for the Intercontinental Championship. Absolute class.
Okay, so now I'm going to get into this. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time and currently? You don't have to narrow it down to one.
All time and currently. Oh, now. It's a tough one, to be honest with you. Currently now, I mean, I am a fan of Roman Reigns. I have been since he was in the Shield, and then went on his solo run, and then of course came back to the Shield, and then went away again, and then now we know the situation that he's going through, as I say, on SmackDown. Also, I mean, I have been a Seth Rollins fan for a long time as well. Who else currently do I like? I actually am a massive fan, and I was a massive fan of him when he was in Impact. When he was Killer Cross, now he's Karrion Kross. And it's brilliant to see him back on NXT, and I can't wait to New Year's Evil for his fight with Damian Priest. I mean, all time, I would say I've got a couple, definitely.
Okay.
Bret Hart, without a doubt, the most technical wrestler I've ever seen on TV, and not had the chance of seeing live, but I have got a wee story about Roman Reigns, which I'll come back to.
Okay.
Other all-time favourites. I actually had a lot of time for Mr. Perfect. I just loved the way he portrayed his character. I'm not going to be beaten. I'm not going to be beaten. And then, of course, the first time he was beaten, of course, was by Hulk Hogan. And a lot of people don't know that, because a lot of people say, oh, it was the Texas Tornado that beat him. Texas Tornado was the first person to beat him for a championship.
Yeah.
It wasn't his first official loss.
Was that on Saturday Night's main event to Hulk Hogan?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, I can actually remember the match well, and it actually was one of the more decent matches, I would say, that I've seen on Saturday Night's Main Event. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was cracking matches. I mean, I always remember Hulk Hogan going to defend the title inside of the steel cage against the Boss Man.
Yeah.
And he gets attacked by Zeus. And I always remember Jesse Ventura saying, for goodness, he's just, Zeus has just attacked him. Hogan's still got to face the Boss Man. And then, and people say, how the heck can you remember that? I mean, if you think about it, when you see the story leading up to the Macho King and Zeus against Brutus and that on SummerSlam 89, and that's what I love about the network, because you actually see some of the old bits where they take a 5-minute timeout and then they come back and they're like, they wouldn't do that now.
Yeah,
it would cost them what a hell to say, what the heck are you doing? Why are you going to a break or something? Who else would I say was a favourite of mine? Are we talking all time, Brad? Are we talking in all associations?
Whoever's your favorite. So it doesn't matter.
I've got to say the dirtiest player in the game.
Okay.
Always been a fan of Ric Flair. Always been a Horseman fan. I mean, I've got a DVD in my collection. It's called Ric Flair and the Horseman.
Okay.
And one DVD gives you the story of how all 4 of the original Horsemen came about.
Cool.
And then the second one shows you different bits from back in the early days until, of course, Arn Anderson brought out Chris Benoit, Gene Malenko, Steve Mungo McMichael, and then,
That's
of course,
right.
oh, I forgot, Ric Flair. That here. Which was an iconic night on Nitro. I mean, Arn Anderson, greatest world television champion of all time. And if anyone wants to have an argument with me, they can about it. The man is just unbelievable.
So a challenge has been put out.
Oh yeah, I've been in wrestling quizzes, and I've posted wrestling quizzes to my friends and all that. And everybody will always say to me, we'll just say, kind of like in a general thing, who is the greatest television champion of all time? And I'll always say, stunning Steve Austin, William Regal, Ricky Steamboat. And I'll just say, I'll tell you what, I'll give you those and I'll raise you someone. They'll say, who's that? Went Arn Anderson. And they're like, jaws hit the ground. Forgot about him. I think, who else? I said Anderson, I said the Horseman. You can take nothing away from the late Ultimate Warrior, who burst on the scene at SummerSlam 88 to beat one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time, the Honky Tonk Man. Hogan, of course, his character, the way he portrayed himself as well. I thought I actually had a lot more time for Hogan when he was in early WWE and when he first came into WCW. I wasn't a big fan of the NWO, really. A fan of the NWO, but not a massive fan when they first started.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, some of the stuff they got up to was just so great. But if I was to put one other wrestler in my favourites of all time, Brad, it would be Kevin Nash.
Oh yeah, he's under mine too.
Always loved big, sexy, just the way he came across. His fights with Bret Hart over the WWE title, of course, beating Bob Backlund inside of 8 seconds to win the title initially. And then, of course, when he came over, his fights with Goldberg, and then, of course, the infamous, Hogan just puts a finger on him. He fell. 1, 2, 3, new champion. I think, but it's hard to pick. You
can't just pick
hard
one.
For a lot of wrestling. You couldn't pick even I don't know how hard it would be for anybody, but it has for me to pick even like a top 10 of all time favourites for me, or my current top 10 favourites. There's just so many guys.
Yeah.
So many characters.
You almost have
over the years.
You almost have to do it by era, like when you're going, like when I was like just getting into it, these were my favorite. And then when I got my 20s, these were my. All right, I'm going to let you go in a moment. Would you mind playing a Would You Rather game?
Yeah, of course.
You're good?
Of course. Yeah,
okay.
No problem.
Would you rather live in a hobbit hole or a tree house?
Probably a tree house, I would say.
Okay, easier to get in and out. Would you rather go to North Korea or go to hell?
I don't know. Probably hell.
Okay, that's what I would.
You don't know, because you know what you're going to face when you get there.
Yeah, totally. And there'd be a lot of fun people in hell, I imagine. It's just really hot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Last
definitely.
question. Would you rather have $1 million or never be able to use the internet again?
That's a hard question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I had $1 million, I know I would be able, to set, things in affairs. Have all your affairs and and everything and all that. But not to use the internet again. I must say, it took me a long time to get, the internet, where I was staying at my mum's and all that, and then when I came to live myself, and the internet's great for getting in touch with people. I could probably, I couldn't say, I'd be 50-50. I would like to make sure I had money in the bank, also have the internet, so I can get in touch with some people, because
that's a good way,
good
perspective to look at it from. Like, if you had the money, then I'll keep doing it. But it would be like really hard nowadays to not have internet, like for your banking, for buying things, for well, all right, you think it over, and next time we talk, you'll come up with a definitive answer, or at least a 90%, 10% split.
I could easily do that. Maybe say about a year's time or something.
And I'll work on saving up that $1 million, so maybe it'll come to fruition. Craig, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. You get on that lottery ticket, and it was really nice to speak to you. Do you have any plans for New Year's Eve or New Year's Day?
At the moment, I'm working at the moment on both days, but when I finish on New Year, I'm working New Year's Day. Okay. So I'm just going to be probably coming home from work, just relaxing, maybe have a couple of drinks just to relax. But probably on what we call Hogmanay here in Scotland, or Old Year's Night. I would probably just get in touch with a lot of people just to say, all the best when it comes tomorrow. If I don't reply to you, you've got to realise I'm going to be up early for work and all that. And the good thing about it is most of my friends and that know that I'm working over that time, and they'll say, all right, no problems, mate, we'll be in touch. Yeah. And what I will say, just to end conversation, is it's one thing I will say that wrestling has done for me, especially independently here in Scotland and in the UK, is it's created a lot of new friends for me. And it's great that we can constantly keep in touch, as you're saying, with the internet. If we didn't have, say, FaceTime or the video calling aspect, stuff like that, I don't think we'd be able to, still be probably in the way that we are. Yeah. As I was saying to you off air, we've got a group here in Scotland that we keep together. I've got a couple of friends in Edinburgh. The rest of the guys are round about Glasgow based. But the good thing is we do maybe once a month or every couple of months we do a wrestling quiz. So you're right, you do one, or you do one, or you do one. And I think the last one I done was to do with the different title reigns, or see if anyone could guess the exact number of days. Like, say for example, I'll pose a quick question to you that I posed to the guys. Okay. Was the exact number of days that Rob Van Dam held the ECW World Television Championship? It was like one of the questions I was answering.
Days. Would have you known that off the top of your head?
If I hadn't looked it up, I would have struggled because I knew it was just shy of. I mean, a lot of people thought it was just shy of 2 years, but I think if I can remember back, it was about 700 days. He held that championship.
Yeah, that would seem right. I mean, like, he should have lost it twice. Under 2 years.
He should have lost it twice to Jerry Lynn, to be honest with you, at pay-per-views, because my goodness. What I would say to people is, if you want to see a rivalry, of any proportions, if you've got the network, go to, I guess, Guilty as Charged and Living Dangerously, I think it is, 1999, and watch the 2 matches between Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam for the television title. Unreal.
Yeah, those are classics.
What they've done. Oh, what Jerry Lynn done to him, I'm like, what the heck's he not got the strap?
All right, Craig. It was great talking to you. We'll definitely have you on again. So have a happy and healthy new year, and we'll see you around.
No problem at all, Brad. Thank you very much, and all the best to you, your colleagues on the Pro Wrestling Junkies, and of course to all your listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Craig. It was great getting to know you.
And you, mate. Take care. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.